The average American retire with $87,000 saved. That sounds okay. Until you do the math. At normal spending, that money runs out in 4 years. And the average retiree lives 20 more. So where does the other 16 years of money come from? That's what this video is about. Here's what most people think retirement looks like. You save for 30 years, you hit some magic number, and then you live comfortably off your savings. But that's not what the data shows. 45% of Americans have zero retirement savings. Zero. Another 19% have less than $50,000. That means 64% of Americans, nearly 2 out of 3, are heading into retirement completely unprepared. And here's the part that keeps financial planners up at night. This isn't a problem for future generations. The first wave of underfunded retirees is already here. Okay, but what about Social Security? That's the backup plan, right? Here's the number. The average Social Security check is $1,907 per month. That's $22,884 a year. The average American spends $48,000 a year in retirement. So Social Security covers less than half of what you actually need. But it gets worse. The Social Security Trust Fund is projected to be depleted by 2033. After that, benefits get cut by roughly 23%. That drops the average check from $1,907 down to $1,468 per month for everything. Rent, food, healthcare. Now before you panic, stay with me. Because in about 4 minutes I'm going to show you 3 moves that completely change this math. But first, you need to understand why the system is broken. Let's run the actual numbers. You retire at 65 with $500,000 saved, which is more than 90% of Americans actually have. Using the 4% safe withdrawal rule, that gives you $20,000 per year from savings. Add Social Security at $1,900 per month. That's $22,800 more. Total, $42,800 per year. Sounds manageable, right? Now subtract healthcare. The average retired couple spends $315,000 on healthcare over their lifetime. That's $15,000 per year just for health costs. After healthcare, you're living on $27,800 a year. That's $2,316 per month for everything else. In most American cities, rent alone is $1,500. That leaves $816 a month for food, transportation, utilities, and emergencies. And that assumes you saved $500,000. Remember, the average American retires with $87,000. And we haven't even talked about the invisible thief yet. Inflation. At 3% per year, the historical average, your purchasing power cuts in half every 24 years. So that $27,800 you're living on at 65. By the time you're 89, and statistically, there's a 40% chance you will make it there. That same $27,800 buys what $13,900 buys today. But wait, there's one more thing. Your 401k has fees. The average 401k fee is 1% per year. That doesn't sound like much. But over 30 years, 1% in fees doesn't cost you 1% of your money. It costs you 28%. On a $500,000 account, that's $140,000 quietly extracted in fees alone. No one writes you a bill. It just disappears from your balance, silently, year after year. Okay, I promised you a way out. Here it is. The American retirement system wasn't designed to make you rich. It was designed to make Wall Street rich. In 1978, companies shifted from pension plans, where they guaranteed your retirement, to 401ks, where you take all the risk. They called it empowerment. What it really meant was, you're on your own. We were told, save 10% of your income and you'll be fine. That was advice designed for a world with pensions and cheap housing. In today's world, 10% is not enough. But here's what nobody tells you. You don't need to be rich to fix this. You need to be strategic. And the math is actually very simple. 3 moves, that's all this takes. Move 1, increase your savings rate to 20%, not 10. I know that sounds hard, but here's the math. If you're 40 years old, saving $500 a month, and you bump that to $1,000, at a 7% annual return, you retire at 65 with $760,000 instead of $380,000. One change, double the outcome. Move 2, switch to index funds and eliminate fees. The average actively managed fund charges 1 to 1.5% per year. A Vanguard S&P 500 index fund charges 0.03%. That's 50 times cheaper, and it outperforms 93% of active funds over 20 years. Not some of them, 93%. Move 3, build one income stream outside your job. Not a second job, an income stream. Dividend stocks, a rental property, a digital product. The difference between retiring at 62 and retiring at 55 often comes down to one income source you built in your 40s. None of these require being rich to start. They require starting. Remember that question I asked at the beginning. Where does the other 16 years of money come from? It comes from the decisions you make right now. Not at retirement, right now. The Americans who retire comfortably aren't smarter than you. They just started earlier, and they made these 3 moves. You now know exactly what they know. The question is what you do with it. If you want to go deeper, the next video shows you exactly how to calculate your retirement number, the specific amount you need based on your age and spending. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you there.